How we doing? How we doing? This is Destination Denver, Colorado, and today you're thinking about moving to Colorado. I've helped a heck of a lot of people move here to Colorado, but never before have I had so many people reach out about a specific region of the Denver Metro, of the Front Range, and we're gonna talk about that area today. Superior, Lafayette, Louisville, and Erie, and we're starting right now. All right, this is Destination Denver, Colorado. I'm your host, Jimmy Everett, and let's jump into an area that is just getting a lot of traction. It's always been an amazing area of the state to live in, but becoming more and more popular. So a lot of people, as they start their search of Denver and the Colorado Front Range, they will target areas around Denver and around Boulder. And so what we're talking about is this community that is right between the two. So as you go up I-25 north out of Denver, you eventually hit Route 36, which takes you over to Boulder. And all of these communities, I should say, the first three communities are all along Route 36, and then you have Erie just a little bit farther to the north. So what people are seeing is that they have these communities that have the benefit of being close to Boulder, being close to Denver, but not necessarily having the price tag of either, or necessarily the culture or the population of either. Now, here's the problem on the surface level. A lot of times as people start to look at these communities, they see similarities. They got great schools, and they got great trails, and they appear to be great for families, singles, what have you. But even though they might look the same on the surface, there's a lot of differences between them that we're going to talk through, because they each certainly have their own personality, their own style, their own price tag. So let's start with those areas that they do share, that shared DNA, if you will. So from a geographic standpoint, they are in a sweet spot. All four towns sit right on or around that US 36 corridor that's better known as Innovation Corridor, because between Denver and Boulder, you've got a lot of tech up in Boulder. You've got the interlocking loop, or the interlocking area of Broomfield, which is basically a new tech center for the Colorado Front Range. And then obviously as you get down into downtown Denver. So commutes are doable to either one. You got people who live in these areas that work down in Denver, go up to Boulder, or people that work in that Broomfield area, and certainly you don't have to work in any of the three. All of these areas are pretty outdoor obsessed, and no, that is not just marketing fluff, that's real. These towns live and breathe outdoors. You're gonna see massive investments in parks, you're gonna see open space, you're gonna see interconnected trail systems between the communities, and it's gonna make it nearly impossible for anybody who has any interest whatsoever in being active to be active. And on top of that, again, you are minutes away from world-class hiking, world-class biking, not, your average run-of-the-mill. I'm talking top in the nation, if not the world. And cost of living is real. You are going to see that all four of them are, from an average, Colorado standpoint, they're on the higher end of expense, but they are somewhat tiered, with Louisville tending to be the highest cost of any of them, and then kind of dwindling down. You get a bit more affordable in Superior and Lafayette, and then a bit more affordable in Erie. Before we go too far into this video, be prepared to hear the name Louisville multiple times. And for my Kentucky people, I am sorry ahead of time, that's how we say it. So we're not talking about Louisville, we're talking about Louisville, Colorado. Forgive me for the S. And then a reoccurring theme that you're gonna hear within these is that safety and health. And that the fact that a lot of people are moving to these communities because they feel comfortable and confident in the communities. And that's something that, again, is just kind of across the board for all four. So now that we've covered how these areas are similar, let's talk about how they are unique. And we begin with Louisville, Colorado. Again, right along that Route 36 area. And Louisville is kind of one of the first areas that people look at when they like Boulder, maybe they like the community, but they don't want the price tag. Maybe they don't want that full Boulder vibe. They want like Boulder light. So Louisville feels like a Norman Rockwell painting come to life. It's charming, it's historic, it's walkable, and it is constantly landing on these best places to live in America lists. So your pros of Louisville: downtown Main Street. We're talking a legit crown jewel, not some fake planned town center. We're talking real history, real shops, real restaurants. You got a Sweet Cow ice cream. I'm just gonna throw that out there anywhere there's a Sweet Cow. You got a Huckleberry, you've got the Huckleberry. You've got breweries, you've got boutiques, and it's right in the heart of the community. You have this just nice walkable area. And anybody who knows me knows I love a good downtown. You've got community events, farmers markets, summer concerts, street fairs. I mean, it's lively and people actually show up. You feel community there. You've got, and this is going to be a reoccurring theme, you've got top tier schools. Part of Boulder Valley School District, that is one of the strongest school districts in all of Colorado. And then trail systems. I mean, as close to perfectly planned as it gets. Kids can ride their bikes to school or downtown, and they can do so without having to hit some major road. Now, costs to Louisville, number one is going to be cost. It is, like I said, it's Boulder light. So while Boulder might be one of the priciest places, if not the priciest, on the Colorado Front Range, Louisville is going to be close because it tends to have a lot of similarities to Boulder. It's very close, and it tends to be the first place that people look when they don't want Boulder, so they shift down to Louisville. Second con could be housing stock. So if you're looking to be near downtown, odds are you're looking at 60s ranches and 70 splits, and they need, a lot of updating, and that can cost a bit of a fortune. Also, when we talk about it being too perfect, some say about Louisville that it's so polished that it kind of lacks some grit, kind of lacks some diversity, and there's something to be said for that. But I think who it's for is the type of people who want the storybook small town with walkability. I mean, it really fits that mold. Next up, we head to Superior. I always want to say Colorado after it, even though I'm pretty sure you all know that the town I'm talking about is in Colorado. So Superior is newer. It's meticulously planned, and it is heavily defined by the Rock Creek subdivision. So you have cul-de-sacs, you have community pools, you have green belts, and this is the name of the game for this area. The pros of Superior are pretty clear. You've got unbeatable commutes. I mean, it is by far, to me, the best located of the four for quick access to Boulder, quick access to Denver. It is very much turnkey lifestyle. It's the type of place where there's pools, there's tennis, there's parks. They're all built into the neighborhoods. Yes, HOAs can run the show. That's something to be aware of, but you do get the amenities for it. It's not the place where you're just paying for an HOA and wondering where your money goes. And then retail convenience. I mean, as they were thinking through this, you've got Costco, you've got Target, you've got Whole Foods, you've got the Flatiron Crossing. It's all right next door. It's also an area of newer homes, built mostly in the 90s and 2000s, and then a ton of new construction now. The funny thing is I'm going to mention is that one of the cons that is typically brought up about Superior is the fact that it doesn't have a downtown. Aha! But they are correcting that. Superior is in the process, not quite to completion, but getting pretty close to completing their downtown with all the shops and all the places to go with the apartments and townhomes around it. So that is going to be a huge addition to Superior. The cons, now that we got rid of, not having a downtown, again, HOAs are going to be a thing there. And then you do get a bit of cookie cutter. Obviously with a lot of new construction tends to be the way you start to see neighborhoods that look similar. I think they've avoided it for the most part, but that's certainly there. The last thing I should mention about Superior, especially as you start to Google it, is they had a pretty horrible fire a few years ago. It impacted this entire community getting up into Boulder. Just a very rare. We certainly have fires in Colorado, but this was caused by an electrical wire that skipped a road, and it just happened to be in a December where we had not seen any snow. So when you see that, certainly an event that impacted the community. There's been a lot of growth and coming together from it, but something I want to make sure you're aware of. And I want to make sure you were aware of how that fire started and how unique it was. A couple more to go, and I would probably call this next one my favorite, just because, I don't know, I just like the energy of it, and that is Lafayette. And Lafayette is just, I don't know, it's just funkier than the others. Louisville's got some funk to it, obviously Boulder does, but Lafayette just has a different energy. It's more artsy, it's less polished than its neighbors, it has some grit, it has some distinct creative energy, and to me, I think the pros are gonna be, you have relative affordability, again, compared to some of the other areas. I still think you get more bang for your buck compared to a Louisville and a Superior. Humble opinion. Downtown Lafayette also has that old town charm, big for me. Public Road is filled with indie businesses, breweries like Odd 13, and it's got a lot of these little funky spots that have just been around forever. You've got a ton of arts and culture, you've got art night out, you've got galleries, and you've got a really thriving creative scene there. And then as far as amenities, several to name, but you got Waneka Lake Park. You've got a ton of rec centers. They got a great rec center, big one there in Lafayette. So just a lot of just good culture, good energy, good vibe, and like I said, just a little quirky, which kind of goes with the area in general. Now, cons for some people, the less polished can be a negative. Some people want, beautiful, restored Victorians, and that's something that when you see these homes, some of them are going to need some love. Growing pains. Lafayette is seeing a growing population. That means more traffic and more crowds than they're used to seeing. And Lafayette specifically has split school districts. So some homes are in Boulder Valley School District and others are in St. Vrain Valley. So especially, as schools impact you, and not to say that St. Vrain's doesn't have some great things going for it, but you are going to be aware, you're going to want to be aware of what school district or what county you are covered by as you look for housing. And I think that this is just a great area for people that are looking for this authentic, kind of, historic area to live in, and they like a little bit slower of a pace. Not to say that it's, again, drastically different from the others. It's just got a calm energy to it. And then last we go to Erie, Colorado. So Erie, located north of all of these, basically straight up I-25, just off that 36 corridor. It's the one kind of outlier. And for years, Erie was home to this International Speedway, or national, not international, National Speedway. That's where we would go when I was a kid to see races, but really nothing else. It was just this track and nothing. Now Erie is one of the fastest growing towns in the entire country. And don't be scared away by that, because it's attracting a lot of good people to it and a lot of great communities that are being built there. So Erie is really all about growth. If you want new homes, you want bigger lots and space, this is where you are going to land. Again, with the pros, you've got new homes and space. We're talking biggest square footage for your dollar. Everything feels newer. Everything feels bigger. You've got modern amenities. You're talking new schools, a massive community center, state-of-the-art sports complexes. I mean, if it could fit in a community, if it's something that is going to bring people to it, Erie has done a really good job of including it in their plans. And then you have these tight-knit subdivisions that I've really enjoyed exploring. You've got master plan communities like Collier's Hill, and they have their own events, they have their own pools, they have their own social circles. So obviously you have the town to base all of these events and activities on, but then you have kind of your own thriving unit in just your subdivision as well. Now, as far as cons, as I mentioned, Erie's are one outlier. So it's a bit north of Denver, so you're a bit farther of a commute. You're also off I-25, that can be a beast. So getting to Boulder, pretty quick. Getting down to Denver can be a headache. I mean, it could be 45 minutes or so, if not more, if there's really heavy traffic. So something to be aware of as far as Erie. Having said that, again, they might bring up no real downtown. Well, Old Town Erie exists, but it doesn't necessarily anchor everyday life. So it's not a big area. To me, I think it's enough. Like, I wouldn't be upset if Lakewood, where I live, had an Erie-like downtown, an Erie downtown. So it's something, it's just not gonna be as impressive or as big as Louisville, Lafayette's, or the one that Superior is building. Louisville certainly has the largest downtown of any of them, but Erie's, it's just that one strip. I think it's enough. Some people will say it's not. And then other cons, obviously, when we talk about rapid growth, you've got infrastructure that is always playing catch up. That means, schools, roads. You might be in a community where there's just a ton of construction, so you're dealing with that. Kind of depends on, what you're okay with and what you are not, but that growth could be challenging. And then last, some feedback I get is oil and gas activity, that there's active drilling in surrounding areas, and for some that's just going to be a deal breaker, so something to be aware of. So the final verdict to me, and if we would do a quick recap, to me, Louisville is charm and cost. It's going to have your best walkability. Superior, you're talking commute and convenience, and I would say it's the best for suburban ease. Lafayette, vibe and value all day. It's going to be best for arts, and in my humble opinion, authenticity. And then Erie is going to be space and newness. It's going to be best for new construction, great area to explore there. But genuinely, I have, so many conversations with people about this area lately. There isn't one best. There isn't. The question is, what are you willing to trade? Do you want a shorter commute? Do you want, the best price tag? What type of schools do you want? What type of community do you want? There is a right fit for everyone. Unique character for convenience, that's truly only an answer that you can figure out. So the only way to know for sure, do what a couple of my newfound colleagues and connections from YouTube are doing. Come out, take a visit. Heck, I'd love to talk to you about it, maybe give you some suggestions of places to explore. That's a perfect opportunity to reach out. Feel free to hit me up. My number and email on the screen. Know that I am always the person. Answer those phone calls, answer those texts, answer those emails. There, when and if you need me. This is Destination Denver, Colorado. I'm your host, Jimmy Everett. That was Moving to Colorado. This is why people love Superior, Louisville, Lafayette, and Erie. Until I see you next time, peace.